Hey, this is Royce Hall with the Wealth Science Podcast. I'm back with Michael Beswick, who is the what is your title again? Director of Consulting Services
Correct.
here at here at CRM Science. That's bad of me forgetting, man.
That's okay.
Well, in our last talk, we took an overview of financial services cloud, when to use it, uh, the the differences between FSC and your typical Salesforce, and we want to dive in a little bit deeper today into the use cases around FSC. You good there?
I am good. Yep.
Okay, your screen was kind of going
It was
crazy on
flickering for a second. Yeah. I was trying to fix it.
That's right. That was your moment of enlightenment. I could see it.
Hopefully.
All right. So let me cue us up here. So we talked about broad strokes FSC and why people would use it. But let's get a little more granular. What are use cases that people typically come to us with when it comes to financial services?
So by far, the most popular use case that comes to us is generally wealth advisors and wealth management. They're always looking for a way to manage their clients that's keeping track of their notes, people's birthdays, life events, things like that. Knowing when to keep contact with them, managing their money, their households, who they're related to, what accounts go to which, and very, very much the process of account opening is a big, big, big thing for the clients that come to us with wealth management. The next after that would probably be insurance. So we've talked to a number of people with insurance. Insurance is an interesting industry for FSC, and as a consultant implementing FSC, it's interesting too because with a lot of it revolving around sort of a yearly schedule, there's a good few months at the last quarter of the year where you don't want to really touch anything at the insurance company's stuff because they're getting people to sign up for new healthcare and all their benefits at different companies and things like that right now. And we also have had a couple of mortgage people come through that were looking to do loan origination, vetting of specific clients, things like that. But for the most part, I would say that wealth management and insurance have been the two biggest that have come through. That we see,
Yeah,
at least.
I think it's funny you mentioned birthdays. That comes up over and over again. I don't know how many times people are like, I just want to track birthdays so I can send a little reminder and whatnot. And
I'll tell you on one of the very first financial service cloud implementations that we worked on, I was shocked when we were doing the initial call and they were kind of telling us what the whole goal of the project was. I was shocked because after talking to them for 45 minutes, I pretty much I got off the call and I was like, I think all they want to be able to do is know when people's birthdays are and be able to tell them you can schedule a call with me at any of these times. And I was like, well, okay, those are two really simple things. I could do that. But FSC has it in there. So
yeah, it comes up a lot. I think about this is a bit of a tangent, but it just reminds me I have a great realtor. And for like the past 10 years, so like we bought our starter house and then 10 years later we bought our current house. And she would always send us email, congratulations on your anniversary, happy birthday. And she would deliver us a pumpkin pie every Thanksgiving. And it's really minor, right? But it's like as a salesperson, those things make a difference. And
well,
that's part of it.
I think they make a big difference. And as I've seen over the years of these things being implemented, if you think about it, like a CRM, that's what it's for. It's to keep the customer relationship. It's when it's working its best, it's providing you insight onto the customer so that you can make contact at the right time in order to further the relationship. And it doesn't always have to be like every time you talk to them you make $100,000 or anything like that, but it is those little things. And marrying FinServ, marrying the traditional FinServ wealth management, where your wealth manager and your advisor, they're very involved in your life. It's not like you just drop off a few $100,000 or $1 million with somebody and you're like, I'll wait for your statement next year.
Yeah.
Like they make calls, they check on you, they say, hey, the market's doing this. They know when to respond. So giving those people the ability to, know that your wife is expecting. They're just having a conversation with you, and you say that your wife is expecting, or they're having a conversation and the husband is he's starting a new business. Knowing that information and being able to put that inside of in FSC, it's called life events, and being able to be notified that that's coming up. That's a really powerful tool for a financial advisor. They can call back in 6 months and say, Mrs. Smith, how is Mr. Smith's new business? Is that working out for you? Or they can call back, a year later saying, hey, we're happy 1 year with your new baby. We're going to send over a cake, whatever. And it keeps it fresh in their mind. So even if every bit of conversation isn't transactional, it's all still adding up to give you more information and more of a relationship with that customer, which I think fits into, especially in wealth advisory or insurance, even I guess real estate too. It's a very big part of that business, I think, is keeping in contact with your realtor. I have, like you, the realtor that I used to buy my house. I also used him when we had a portion of the house for rent, and I will use him to sell it when I eventually do, and if I ever need to find a new tenant. So, and it's because he calls me on my birthday and he sends Christmas cards and things like that. So
Yeah, it kind of gives you, to use the Salesforce word, that Ohana feeling, right? The family.
Exactly.
One of the things that inevitably comes up with every one of these, everything that's in like the financials vertical is underwriting, right? That's always a use case. There's always a huge process. How do we get the right things at the right time? And when you're dealing with like loan origination, how do we fill out all of the forms? And one of the things I think of is like, okay, FSC has some DocGen capabilities, but then there's also products like FormStack out there, right? So like, where do those, how do those work together? Like, when do you bring in something like that, like a FormStack?
Okay, so as a feature of FSC, there is the ability to generate documents, but it's not going to be as robust as something like FormStack, other DocGen pieces, where you're going to be able to create you'll be able to create the actual templates that will go into, let's say, a loan application, or let's say an account opening document. The other thing that you're not going to get if you're not using a package like FormStack is a digital signature. So things like DocuSign, FormStack, eSign, those types of things, they have in place the technology to make that digital signature, binding, just as much as you handing the person a document and them signing it at your desk. Those are things that you have to buy as an add-on to Salesforce, but the ROI on those is fantastic. I mean, anybody who has ever signed a digital format of a document and hasn't had to hop into their car, drive 45 minutes of traffic, sit at somebody's office, wait for them to get the document out, have a conversation, sign it, get back into their car, get home, knows that being able to do that on the phone, on the train, in the car, seconds after you're on the phone call, saves so much time. And not only does it save time and convenience for them, but it saves time and convenience for the people, the mortgage processor, for the financial advisor. It saves time for everybody involved. But from a business perspective, that time savings means a lot more money.
Yeah, I mean, it's the increased deal flow, right? Just like you said, when I bought our house, like there's all sorts of things that go into that. I don't know how many of those e-signature things I signed. There's a bunch of them, right? But to your point, like I didn't have to arrange, okay, I'm going to go downtown on Saturday at X time and meet this person at this place. It's just like, hey, I'm in my jammies, I'm reading my email, and hey, I gotta do this. I can do it right now from sitting on my bed, right?
Yep.
And that means on the flip side of that, as a user, that's a better experience. But as a business person, it's like, okay, that deal flow goes from a weeks long process to days or hours long process. And that, that increases your deal flow, that increases your cash flow, as you're saying.
Well, and don't forget human nature too. So having a more streamlined and shorter process helps to defeat some of human nature. I mean, I hear you guys say it all the time that time kills all deals, right? So you have to take into account that, there's going to be that person who's signing their mortgage documents at 10:49 the night before they're due the next day, right? So that would have been a lost deal because he had missed it. It's after 5 p.m. There's nobody at the office. They can't come in and sign anything anymore. The ability to have that sort of not 24/7, but expanded amount of time in that day helps to save some of those deals. And like, that's that convenience factor. I'm a bit of a planner. When I did mine, papers were signed like the moment they sent them over. But believe me, I know plenty of people who probably sign it like, yeah, they're fretting. Yeah, I do want the house. And they sign it at 11:58 on the day that it's supposed to go in. And that deal is now done. It's not lost anymore. Somebody didn't spend 6 months trying to get the whole thing through, only to have it fall apart at the last minute because somebody had cold feet. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, to kind of transition a little bit, one of the things I think is really cool that we do at CRM Science, we have a product development team, and I think it's really cool that we get to help people with, like, how do I connect to like eMoney or Citadel or Fidelity? Can you just talk a little bit about what are we doing in the product development sphere? Because that's a whole nother part that we haven't discussed when it comes to financial services and to fintech. Like, that's fintech, right? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So we talked a little bit about those OEMs, right? And we talked a little bit about add-ons like DocuSign and FormStack that we can put into. So from the PDO perspective, one of the good things about Salesforce, remember the Lego analogy, is that we can build whatever we want on it, and it's block, 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 block. When you get an app, which is what we would build in PDO, we've already put all those blocks together for you, and you're just clipping it on, and you now have a special functionality that you didn't have before. From our side, that means that we would build that out. We have to build it in an agnostic way, so it's not directly for any one specific org. It can be built toward financial services cloud, so we're able to build PDO products that take advantage of some of the financial services cloud features. It may be built toward a specific architecture of financial services cloud too. You'll find PDO products out there that are specifically for wealth management, that are specifically for the banking industry, that are specifically for insurance industry. But for the most part, what PDOs do is we find ways to more easily get you connected to other systems. So, well, we work with a client where we're the PDO for the client building their app that connects their system to Salesforce. A lot of wealth advisors use their system as a supplement for the financial data side, where they use Salesforce as the source of truth for the people and their accounts and the relationships and things like that. So we're able to help them with building this app so that they can have any of their clients, and this is business clients, so B2B clients, their clients being advisors. They can have any of their clients install the app onto their system so that when we're doing work in Salesforce, it gets mirrored in their system, and their system can help with the account opening part. And when that finishes, it comes back and it gets mirrored on the account in Salesforce.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for walking through, the use cases around financial services, walking us through product development. I appreciate you joining us again. Thanks for spending some time with us.
No problem.